Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. And of course, if you really liked the content of our channel, YouTube has actually opened up the super chat functions recently for our channel. So if you do like it, just press the super chat and contribute a little bit of the sponsorships, and these money will actually contribute back to our backend support and also the design, contents and everything that you actually get all these videos almost like every day. Anyway, today is exciting. Well, exciting what? Now, it's actually the 22nd of August 2022. It's exciting because I think if you ask around your friends and mates, a lot of people actually get invitations for subclass 189. Wow. I mean, 189, we haven't even heard of subclass 189 for bloody 24 months plus. And today, this morning, we have just received so many ourselves. Our agency actually received a few. And also, I've been contacted around by numbers of other fans and viewers. They did receive 189 invitations as well. That is actually very exciting. So if you or your friends actually receive 189 visa invitations, why don't you leave a comment right down below just to let everybody know. And there's no specific high EOI points required, if I can recall. I think as long as you hit 70 points, I think you probably will just get it. Now you may ask why, what's happening? Well, this is exactly what I have predicted. The economy of Australia hasn't really been well and the only way to fix the economy, even in short term, medium term and long term, migration policy is the way to actually do it. So rather than this morning, I've also read a news article from New South Wales pushing on a lower end of skill migration, which I don't think will actually go through. But again, it's sign that the community, the industry bodies, and everywhere around Australia is seeking to get more migrants, because having more migrants, having more skilled workers in Australia helps. It definitely helps. If we go back where I first arrived in Australia, was back in 1994. Compared to the population and today, the percentage of migrants actually contribute to the economy is huge. So it's definitely a way to go, and that goes straight and directly into what I had predicted. And within a few weeks, we're hitting that Jobs and Skills Summit in September in Canberra, the 2 days. Well, although the government is saying, look, we are inviting industry bodies to talk about what's required, what's needed, inviting unions to talk about how we can actually train the locals. Despite that, a lot of locals don't want to get trained. But I think the whole show will actually resulted with the confirmation of the migration intake to be increased dramatically. There are still some news talking about it's only gonna increase a little bit. But look, if it's gonna only increase a little bit, first of all, that is not gonna help for the backlog. Secondly, that isn't gonna help for the economy, the need of the skill shortages. Okay. Now, bear in mind, although we have seen a lot of state, they have opened up their state nomination, but they are still using that phrase. What phrase? The interim allocations. Now, what does that mean? If you put that in the definition, the interim allocation basically it's a temporary fix. It's only a short-term fix that the federal government provide a little bit of the numbers that given to these state and territories so they can have a little play with. Okay, it's not a permanent, it's not an actual or official full year allocation of quota. This interim allocation has been widely used for the past few years, basically because the scarcity of the annual intake quota. There's only a limited number of quota, introduced by the federal government, so they're only giving out little bit by little bit. Now, I think after September that will all change, and that means there will be more relaxations for the actual state government criteria coming up before the end of this year. So it's actually a very exciting year. Now, all right, apart from the 189 visa invitation raining down this morning, there's also an update on Western Australia. Now, let's go there and have a look. Now, you may want to check out this webpage. You can Google, just punch in WA and space migration. You should be able to land yourself in this page with the latest news. Now, I don't know how the government of Western Australia would like to announce something on Sunday. I mean, what? Well, you're announcing stuff on Sunday. Who's going to read it? I mean, anyway, I would. So that make sure you subscribe to my channel, so I get you all the updated informations. Okay, so let's have a read. 2022-23 SNMP program changes, expansion under the graduate stream schedule 1-2, and change of the state nomination requirement. So let's have a look. That sounds good. So that means it's a little bit better than it first announced back in I think it was May. So there's a little bit more relaxations than what they used to plan against for the new financial year. So that's exactly what I'm trying to say to all of you is whatever the criteria that you actually see today, it may be further relaxed in the coming month and towards the end of the year. Why? Because there's just a lot more allocation and quota is going to be given out to be utilized anyway. So this is one of the example, because they used to set their rules back in May, and then now they are relaxing more. I don't know. Probably Queensland, New South Wales, Tasmania will actually do more. Well, probably not Victoria, because Victoria doesn't even have a criteria at all. But would other states follow that? I don't know. Anyways, let's see what happens. Okay, the WA government has made a change in migration program, support skilled workers looking to migrate to Western Australia, including increasing occupation eligible for skill migration in WA around 60%. Now, how do we know what is included in that 60%? Don't know. I mean, that's just for me, that's just for some random number. Doesn't make any sense. Probably not, but I don't know. That's how the government of Western Australia, how they wanted to operate, work with. Okay, new occupation has been added. So what are those ones? We go in there and have a look. So these are for the WASHMO Schedule 1 and WASHMO Schedule 2. That's for people that did not study in Western Australia, and they can come from anywhere around Australia or offshore to actually work in Western Australia. They actually get that. There's a list there. So WA government has also waived that $200 application fee. Woo, that is great. $200. I mean, $200 really make no differences compared to all the other visa fees. That's like $4,000-5,000, wouldn't it? Okay, anyway, but it's good. You know, you don't have to pay anything. Okay, you don't have to pay $200 now. From 1st of July 2022, including removal requirement demonstrates sufficient fund, which is really stupid anyway. I mean, there's still, I think, There's still Northern Territory requires that. West Victoria requires that. I'm not too sure, but migrants, once they meet the requirement, they come and work. Why would you need to know how much money they have in their bank account? I think it's pretty redundant. You really don't need that kind of stuff. Okay, reduction of English requirements. So now they are making some sense now for applicant at manager and professional occupation level. That's ENSCO starting with 1 and 2, okay, to competent level of English. There's no more requirement to be or under proficient English. That's previous requirement. Now that's very good. So that actually beats Queensland. So will Queensland actually do something else to relax their criteria more? Probably. Let's watch out in the future. Change of document requirement, WASHMO Schedule 1, 2, and the graduate occupation list based on the visa applicant is being nominated as explained below. Okay, work experience. So 190. WASHMO needs at least 1 year work experience in onshore contract full-time, and WASHMO 2 full-time employment contract. So WASHMO 2 is actually for offshore, I believe. No graduate stream, no, not required. Evidence of 2-year Western Australian study, that's only for the graduate stream. Now 491, at least 1 year work experience onshore or overseas in nominated or closely related occupation. No contracts needed. No more contract needed for 491, but if you got to go into 190, you need to have those contracts there. So what is the differences here? I think this for the 491, it's more like copying what ACT and the Tasmania criteria were, because they don't genuinely require you to actually work at the closely related job. If you work somewhere else, it's fine. They can still take you, but obviously not under 190 but 491. So this removing that job requirement will actually make the same effort as well. So I think that is a very welcoming criteria there. Now let's jump into the actual the list. Now again, there's gonna be, I don't know how many hundreds, 300, 400, 500 occupations. So obviously I'm not going to go through every one of them, but this is just basically showing you well, look, it's not the best occupation list design so far. The best one will still be South Australia or New South Wales utilizing search engines, but anyway, this is how you're going to go through. So you can use Control F function to actually find out your occupation and come under that occupation and check out whether they are eligible for 491 or 190, and then whichever the schedule occupation that you're in. So you can actually find them out. So there are some new ones, as you can see, and some new ones there. And I'm not gonna go through every single one of this, because that will take hours and going through them, which is not a big good thing for me and for you. It's gonna be very boring, but this is what you're gonna expect. Okay, you scroll down to whichever the occupation they're in. You find out whether or not they had the first 2 ticks done. That basically means you can actually do 491 and 190, and then the other 3 columns basically are for the different occupation lists. So on the far right, that's for graduate, and then the WASHMO 1 and WASHMO 2, and basically that's it. So anyway, let's wrap this up for this video. Now as you can see, well, it's basically matching what I had predicted. The government of Australia, whichever the party they hold the position, they will soon learn, when they now know that the nation of Australia, the 6th largest continental nation in the world, with only 25 million people in population, is really struggling for skilled migrants. Otherwise, if we are moving fast into this post-pandemic era with all the inflations and all the war going on in Europe and the tensions in Asia and all that kind of stuff. We're actually, very deteriorating on the economy side of Australia. Because Australia, we gotta face it, Australia is a nation that basically they survive. Should I just survive? Not really survive, but they work in a way, a peaceful world, because it generally exports all the raw material out to other countries, but it requires a lot of imports of a lot of products, computer, notepad, whatever it is, cars, everything is made outside of Australia. So they need those things to come in, and those things come in require to be transported. So in a post-pandemic era like this, with inflation, petrol price gone up to the sky, and also US dollar thingo, it actually creates a lot of troubles for the economy of Australia that they can foresee for the next few years. So in order to sustain this, I think migration will be the only way to do it. And to fix it, it needs to, the government needs to have that bold heart to actually increase the whole quota, to actually, correct all these backlog issues, and also intake all these new skilled migrants. And we see that today. We see that exactly today. How many people haven't really seen 189 visa being invited for so long, and this morning there are so many people. I don't know if there's going to be more than thousands. Probably it has reached more than thousands, because I've heard so many people got it. And also we are also seeing the extra quota will then be provided after this interim allocation, as we can see straight away on the Western Australia's criteria expansion as well. The only way I can explain why they expand, they relax the law, well, pretty easy, because they got more quota to be used. And that's pretty easy. Now, how many? I don't know. Some state decide to tell everybody. Some state decide not to tell anyone. But again, we see through state governments' actions and conduct, we can actually predict all these trends coming up. So anyway, it's very good news. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I believe there's going to be a lot more good news coming up. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.